Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
This segment of the Paul Harrell program brought to you by the great folks at Patriots of Act 746, an 11,000-member strong Facebook group trying to educate Arkansans about your gun rights, the Second Amendment, and specifically constitutional carry and Act 746 right here in Arkansas. Hey, joining us now to talk a little bit more about this and some enhanced carry news, we have Mr. Bob Bailey is with us. Bob, welcome to the Paul Harrell program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You're from Russellville, right?
I am.
All right. So we're always glad to have somebody from Russellville calling, and hopefully the folks are listening in the River Valley on 610 AM, 101.3 FM Carve out of Russellville. As well as online. So Bob, tell us, first of all, a little bit about the Patriots of Act 746. How did you come to find this group?
I have been a gun instructor since 2000, and I found them on Facebook, and I just started paying attention to them and kind of getting educated, and became friends with one of the founders, Gary Epperson, and that's pretty much how I realized what was going on.
Yeah. So I mean, what have you learned, since joining the group? I mean, were you shocked to understand, what Act 746 really means in terms of Second Amendment rights?
I was shocked that they were putting out information that I hadn't been seeing anywhere else.
Yeah.
Me being an instructor since the year 2000, I kind of tend to pay attention to gun right issues of any sort. And what I was hearing from this group was unlike what I was hearing from any other group.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I got to looking at it and reading into it, the more I'm like, wow, here's something that's for the good of the people that nobody's hearing about other than on Facebook.
Yeah. So you are, I mean, that's what they do. They're great at that. But you're a concealed carry instructor. You just mentioned that. And you guys, from what I'm hearing, now correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of feels like y'all are about to be put through the ringer with this new enhanced carry stuff and all these new, regulations and the red tape you got to go through if you want to teach that class. What can you tell us about, the information that you're getting concerning the new law, the new level of carry here in Arkansas?
Well, the one thing that concerns a lot of us is we weren't really given the option to decide to train or not. They're basically coming out saying you have from January to March to train, and they want us to be able to offer a class. And if you don't do that, you will cease to be an instructor. No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Hang on, okay. Let's stop right there. So that means if you just wanted to continue offering the regular the regular carry license that you don't really need, but if you wanted it maybe for reciprocity and things like that, but if you just want to keep doing that, they're saying you can't do that anymore.
They're saying that you have to take this enhanced instruction to be able to offer it to your students. Whether you do or not, it doesn't really matter. They're saying you've got to go through this training or you will cease to be an instructor.
Wow.
That is an issue that has a lot of instructors up in arms.
So what kind of training are we talking about here? And, I mean, I've been told some people are just going to quit. And that would mean, less training out there.
I'm hearing a lot of that. It's going to be enough of a hassle for some people that they're just going to say, hey, to heck with this. It's not worth it to me. I'm done. I'm a little bit on the fence about that myself. Right now, as instructors, nobody that I know of has gotten any kind of guidance from the state police. We just know that it's coming. What I read was sent to me by a local police chief that basically was several pages long. It outlined the training criteria, which is basically some of the older police training courses that police used to have to go through. And the issues that I'm having with this is, if you're the kind of guy that hadn't practiced with your gun, I see a lot of people during the recalls that hadn't shot since 5 years ago. I mean, that's reality. If you're one of those people that shoots very little, you're probably not going to be able to pass this course.
Wow.
If let's say you're an elderly person and you have arthritis in your hands, or you have bad knees, or you have bad shoulders, you're one of the people that need a gun the most to protect yourself. You don't have the physical ability to whoop somebody off of you. These are the people that's going to be affected the most by this. And from what I'm reading and seeing, and I had discussed this with several other instructors, we don't really see any benefit to this enhanced training whatsoever. Most of your universities have been given the options to opt out if they want to opt out of it, which means all they have to do is provide a security plan and say, hey, we don't want guns on our campus. So that goes away.
Yeah, and let's stop there for a second. That's ridiculous. The whole point of this bill, before everybody started worrying about making Asa look bad because he didn't support it and he didn't want to have to face the college presidents, this was only about colleges. Before there was a extra qualification and more red tape and a new permission slip, it was only about saying, hey, if you have your concealed carry license and you're a professor, we'd like to allow you to be able to, exercise your right on a college campus. And now it's, okay, well, now the colleges have a loophole where they can just say no. I mean, we're not going to let you do that. And now we have to force current instructors to take the class, or you can't be an instructor at all anymore. It just seems like there's a ton of unintended consequences, or maybe this is all intentional. I mean, you can talk to people that said they had this thing planned for 3 years, and they've always known that they were going to do this and create more regulations, more obstacles to our rights.
Yes, exactly. The problem I have is anytime you let government, whether it's local, federal, any government, it doesn't matter, and once they get their foot in the door on this stuff, what's it going to be like 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 20 years from now? I can actually see them saying, hey, you know what? We're just going to do away with the regular license, and now we're going to have everybody have an enhanced carry license. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a matter of time because that's what government does.
You're exactly right. They don't think we're responsible enough as is just to be able to protect ourselves. I mean, Asa Hutchinson, when he puts this thing out on Twitter saying he supports the Second Amendment, no, he called it a privilege, number one, and Asa is only comfortable with you having a gun in a public place so long as you go along with certain things he wants you to. So long as you train, then he's okay with you having the privilege of carrying your gun. And that's really what this, that's the whole problem, is that we got these people in office, they don't even know what the government was created for originally. It was to protect us from, it was to protect our rights. And yet now we have government trying to regulate and take and diminish our rights away. It's the complete opposite of the way things were intended.
Exactly, and it's going to get to the point where you won't be able to afford it. What is your personal definition of nominal?
Nominal, yeah.
Let's say nominal fee. What is a nominal fee to you? How much is a nominal fee?
It's kind of what my grandfather used to say. It's worth whatever somebody's willing. I used to collect baseball cards, and I'd say, oh, gosh, I've got this card, or I got that card. And he would say, that card's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. So, that's the same thing with the nominal fee.
Well, exactly. If you're one of these guys making $30,000 a year, your nominal fee is going to be less than my nominal fee. I make $100,000 a year. You might make $250,000 a year. What's your nominal fee? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
yep.
They come out, and I don't think it's about rights. I don't think it's about privilege. I think it's about money. To the Arkansas legislature, a nominal fee is $300.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's not a big deal. To you, that might not be a big deal. But that's not the principle of it. The principle is, if you're at one of these guys with $30,000 a year job, are you going to be able to afford that?
Yeah.
Is your life worth any less than mine just because you can't pay a nominal fee?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. We're talking with Bob Bailey. You are exactly right, Bob. It really, when you put it like that, they're putting a price on a life. It's just real spooky. if you think about it like that.
Let's talk about another unintended consequence. Right now, your concealed carry fees for a class. We've got a guy up at Dover that does $35 for a class. Most of the classes here in Russellville are going to run you anywhere from $50 to $100. I know of a couple of guys down in Little Rock that are doing $200 to $250. So you've got a pretty good range of what it's going to cost you just to get a permit. Now, you're requiring these instructors to go to more training. The class is supposed to be another 5 to 8 hours from what I'm seeing. As an instructor, if I'm charging $50 for a class right now that is required by law to take 5 hours, now we're doing a 10 or a 12-hour class. That price is probably at least going to double, if not more. So now you're looking at maybe $150, $200 for a class, plus $300 for the fee. You're looking at $500, and that's a part that's not even been addressed by the legislature. Their nominal fee is $300 for this enhanced license. They hadn't even considered what the instructors are going to have to charge just to cover their time and materials.
They didn't have a clue what they were doing. I think that's what's obvious here.
They didn't have a clue. You're exactly right.
This is what happens when you contort your principles in order to protect a Republican governor who's not a real Republican. This is what happens, because that bill they tried to make, whether you agree with the permission slip or not, but I'm telling you, they tried to make this bill a lot easier and very simple. And the governor said no, because he couldn't defend it, because he doesn't believe in it. And so then they had all these negotiations, and the governor was still not for it. The governor's nephew wasn't for it. And we have a bill that is not really thought out practically, because it only came about because of political expediency and loyalty to the governor. And it's clear, when now you have instructors and all this extra power to the Arkansas State Police, and people are saying, they've completely undone everything. Charlie Collins did not set out to create a disaster, I don't believe, and I think that's what this bill is becoming. If you talk to these instructors, if you talk, you're an instructor, if you talk to other people, all Charlie Collins wanted to do was allow professors to carry if you had a concealed handgun license. That's all he wanted to do. And then instead of putting Republicans on the spot like Asa and forcing them to veto it if they didn't like it, no, instead we don't want to make anybody look bad in public. And it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, Bob.
How is it that a Republican governor would not actually support the right to bear arms is what I want to know.
It's a great question. I mean, Gary Epperson, our friend on the Facebook live feed right now, he just wrote that Charlie Reese from 1937 to 2013, that's his lifespan. He wrote this, quote, "Gun control by definition affects only honest people. When a politician tells you he wants to forbid you from owning a firearm or force you to get a license, he is telling you he doesn't trust you. That's an insult." He went on, "Gun control is not about guns or crime. It is about an elite that fears and despises the common people." I agree with that.
I do too, because, as long as you have the right to bear arms, you have a limit to the amount of crap that they can put on you. At some point in time, you will say enough is enough, and you will rise up and you will take arms. And that is history. That is historical. The Founding Fathers knew that. They had just beat off England, doing exactly the same thing. I worked at a nuclear plant for 34 years, and I retired. And once a year, we had to go to a class. And all that class was about was the definition of shall and shall not. We actually learned that if you did something that said shall not, you were looking at possible prison time and big fines. If you didn't do something that said shall, same issue. We went to a class once a year, and every nuclear person that had access to a job order to repair stuff had to go to that class. I sorely wish that our politicians would attend that same class, because to me, shall not be infringed means nothing less, nothing more. It means shall not be infringed at all. To me, you paying a nominal fee of $300 for this enhanced license, coming to my class paying $200, is that not an infringement?
I certainly think it is.
What about being fingerprinted like a common criminal in case you do something wrong?
Mm-hmm. In order to get it, yeah.
What about passing a background check that basically says you are guilty of something until we prove you innocent?
It's pretty scary stuff. I mean, when you look at the actual ideology behind it, the motivation behind it, it's not far off from, the allegations that the NSA collects everything we do online, and in case we do something wrong in the future, they need it in case we do something wrong in the future to look back at it. So
that is all about globalism.
Yeah.
If you look at the picture, they don't want anybody being armed for reasons that we already stated. You've got a limit to the amount of crap that they can put on you.
Bob, I appreciate it, sir. It's great to meet you. It's a great conversation. I would love for you to keep us posted on what else comes down the pike with the enhanced carry. Specifically, I'm interested in, you are a licensed instructor, so I just want to know kind of the feeling on the ground. I'll give you the last word. What's the summary right now on this enhanced carry bill among concealed handgun carry instructors?
I haven't talked to one single instructor that thought it was a good idea.
There we go. That's all we need to know. All right, keep us posted. Bob Bailey of Patriots of Act 746. We appreciate it, sir. Thanks for calling in.
All right, thanks for having me.
All righty, folks. The telephone number, call, text 870-275-9799. We'll be back in just a moment.